Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Taco Court Fantasy Football League podcast. I am your host, Nate, joined almost as always by Tony. Thanks for everybody listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're at. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like, leave a comment or a review, anything like that. Tony, how's it going? It is the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the Emperor of the Taco Court Fantasy Football League called, and I answered. I'm doing good. Excited for Thanksgiving. Our buddy Matt Kendall's hosting us tomorrow. He's cooking literally everything. So just going to bring some booze, some stuff for the kids, and yeah, we're going to have a good time. I'm excited. Happy to be on again.
How did you feel about when he said, "Hey, why don't you guys come over around 2 o'clock in the afternoon? We'll catch the 2:30 game, eat around 4, something like that." What was your initial thoughts when he sent that text?
Commitment and a lack of commitment on
Mm-hmm.
Matt's part. My family, when we used to do Thanksgiving, someone would wake up at like 3 a.m. to start cooking the turkeys. So, Matt, you got to work on. Thank you for the invite, but you got to set the alarm for a little bit earlier, buddy.
This is why we don't have white people as friends, Tony. Like, you're gonna eat it somewhere in the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, kind of in the mid time of when dinner is supposed to be. And then they're going to be like, you know what? Why don't you come over for the second game of football? No,
Yeah.
like not a, hey, why don't you guys come over at, 10:30? We'll pound a couple brewskis real quick, get ready for 11 o'clock, stay warm. It's going to be windy out. Let's watch some football, see if we can finish cooking food. Like, that's what it's about. This is America. This is not, I don't know. I'm going to say something that's going to get us banned from YouTube. So, anyways, this is a podcast revolved around the 12 members of our fantasy football league. That's how it all started. And we kind of just branched out. We talk about sports. We don't talk about sports. And we try to push some boundaries with ourselves a little bit on what we can get each other to say. We'll go over the same topics, top of mind. We'll ask each other a question in our segment we call Manager on Manager. We'll hit some NFL news and notes. We will do a draft because we are fantasy football league and we love drafting. We'll finish out with rants and raves and leave you with a banger of the week for Thanksgiving. Tony, top of mind.
Being thankful for the little things. Health for myself, my family, thankful for those things. The roof over our heads, thankful for that. The food on our table, thankful for that. And just the stuff that kind of gets taken for granted, maybe on the day-to-day, right? Definitely grateful for where I'm at. Just, I don't know, reflecting on kind of the past few years. Trajectory's kind of been pointed north. So
booming, like
yeah.
Antonio Brown's brand, booming. Yeah, that's cool. For the people who are only listening on audio, what you missed was the entire time when Tony's talked about the little things he was looking down. I don't know. I couldn't get any eye contact. Couldn't tell you what's going on there. So, we just got a YouTube comment right now. We can talk about that right now. You guys don't know football from him apparently. So I don't know what video that's on, but we'll talk a little bit about that. Top of mind for me. We started posting on YouTube pretty heavily and all the socials for short form video and all this kind of stuff this last week. And we did pretty well, Tony. You did some of the edits, the majority of the edits. We got a lot of feedback on your edits. Someone I got a question actually emailed to me on a personal email. I don't know how they got my personal email or anything like that. It's from a Darren's Ton. Asked if you were colorblind because when editing video and you look at the audio waveforms, it shows you in colors when you're peaking. Because a lot of our comments were, my ears. Oh my gosh, what a shitty mic. Oh, Dollar Tree microphone. And as you can hear right now, it's not a Dollar Tree microphone. It is definitely an Amazon, and I got a coupon and everything like that. Maybe someone sent me a gift card microphone, but it is not from the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree probably would have been better than what people heard, but hey, Tony, it got us engagement. Those are our most watched videos whatsoever. It's awesome. So thank you, but are you colorblind?
I just want you to know that my audio was fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it was great. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I spent a little extra time just refining the tracks, making sure, it was compressed nice and tight. There weren't too many peaks and valleys. Just on point. Tony's audio was on point.
I wrote them back to say, hey, maybe I was sabotaged in that, because I host the number one fantasy football league podcast on YouTube in India. We are huge in India. There are 1.3 billion people in India, Tony.
Like, that's honestly a demographic you need to target.
You could have Poland. I will take
all
India.
Amateur podcasters out there, target India.
India. Yeah, we
Yeah.
might translate ourselves into Hindi or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Jungle Book, so thankful
You
for
want
the
to
Jungle Book.
you want to talk cricket?
Eh,
Top five overrated, underrated?
overrated,
Overrated,
underrated.
underrated.
Anyways, hey, some of the demographics, because you don't see this stuff, right? And YouTube analytics are phenomenal, right? So over the weekend, this is just over the weekend from what, Friday until Sunday, essentially, or today, right?
Mhm.
Wednesday, because this all accumulates. Um, 18.7 thousand views across all videos on a weekend, 64.3 hours of watch time, and we gained 7 subs. We
What?
gained 7 subscribers without marketing it across any other platform except for
Wow.
the same type of short forms in the short form areas. Like I don't share the YouTube to my personal, so there's not like family friend stuff. I just want to kind of grow it organically or whatever
Yeah.
like that, right? See and learn and stuff like that from it. But yeah, 7 subs we gained. So we are over the double digit mark in subscribers, 64 hours of watch time, and 18.7 thousand views over the weekend. So thanks to everybody that is doing that, engaging with it. Be sure to subscribe so that you get that stuff all the time. Another thing uh, coming out, I guess you'd say top of mind, is the gratitude piece. I was just having a talk with the girls downstairs about, hey, what Thanksgiving's about, or what we tend to want to think about, right? A time for reflection or whatever like that. And so we are talking, say, tell me 3 things that you're thankful for. And they're like, 3? So I was like, okay, give me 2, right? And I was surprised because I did it separately with them, so like they didn't hear each other's answers.
Yeah.
And both of them said, we have a house and we have food. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I'm going to go cry and I need to wash my face before I get on this podcast because people are going to see it on YouTube. So that made me feel pretty good. But yeah, same kind of things for me, right? I was bringing up friends. Nick got me the job when I moved out here. I didn't have a job. You guys helped me, when I didn't have
Yeah.
shit too. So that, and then them as well, teach me a lot of patience. You're doing parenting by yourself and stuff like that. It's easy to blow up
Mhm.
and take out your frustrations on people who are just basically sponges to soak it up or whatever like that, and they're not
Yep.
going to do anything. It's like an intimidation thing, so they teach me a lot of that kind of stuff, and I've noticed myself get a lot better with that from where I was 4 3, even 2.5 years ago or whatever like that, 5 years ago. So super thankful for that. Not thankful for not being invited until 2 o'clock on a Thanksgiving Sunday when the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, are playing the Detroit Lions in Detroit.
Mm.
2 home games in one. Let's move on
Mm.
to manager on manager. So, Tony, right now, I gotta ask you because I was at work the other day, and you get a free 1 hour preview on Fox Sports, right? If you're streaming,
Yeah.
whatever. So you have to at work. We gotta turn the computer off, turn it back on because it'll get you on a new VPN IP, and
Yep.
then you can get your 2 hours. How invested are you in the proper football tournament happening right now in Doha? And by that, I mean the World Cup.
This was a home away from home for both of us once upon a
Yep.
time, right?
Yep.
Or pretty close to.
We were there right
Um,
when they started building the infrastructure for all of it.
wow. Yeah. I remember that. I was
Yeah.
like, no, there's no way these guys are getting the World Cup. This is a bunch of malarkey. And they got it. They got the
Yeah.
money. I'll follow the US because, I'm patriotic. I support the cause, but we both been to Qatar rather, as any
That's
40-year-old white male would call it. It's a third world country. Their beliefs and all that, they're kind of archaic, right? And the only reason they got the venue, we all know it, is because FIFA is corrupt as all hell and it was all money through the back door. So as soon as the US is eliminated, and they will be eliminated, they stink. I'm going to be done watching it.
You're crazy. The US is legit.
Yeah, they couldn't even beat Wales, man. Come on. They're not
Wales
going to beat
has
England.
the MLS star, right? If you're LAFC, all of a sudden you're an LAFC fan, just like you're all of a
Negative.
sudden a Rams fan.
Galaxy.
No shit, you are a Galaxy fan?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, let's go. I'm a Galaxy fan. We're gonna
Kobe
go. I was
Jones
talking.
back in the day. Landon Donovan. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
Landon Donovan, David Beckham. Whew, that was my first.
Mm,
That was my first MLS game. Was the
really?
LA Galaxy playing the DC United at the old RFK Stadium
Mm-hmm.
in the DC area. That DC had Freddie Adu at the time, who was supposed to be the next big star in the US, right?
Flamed out.
Um, but US soccer's on the rise, man. They're good. They're good, and uh, they have the majority of the roster playing in the EPL
Mm-hmm.
currently, right? Or Borussia Dortmund, one or the other, essentially, right? the big clubs in Europe, and when they come to the Americas in 4 years, it is going to be complete domination from the United States of America.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than global combat. That's why we dominate continents. That's why we dominate the Olympics. That's why we wake up at 2:30 in the morning to have a kegger to watch the United States play Spain, who just apparently took over the number one spot in men's basketball as well.
Interesting.
But we are like, yeah, that's what we are about here in this country. And I'm thankful for that because there is nowhere else on this planet that you can sit there and just be confident that when you hear an airplane above your head, you don't need to look up to verify there's not something falling on you or whose
Mm-hmm.
planes it is, right? We've done that. And we
Yeah.
dominate the global stage. Everybody wants to be us. Everybody wants to come here. This is
I feel like it's just a young team.
America.
Maybe in 4 years they'll have the experience, right?
Yeah.
And they'll blossom into something that has a shot at competing for the World Cup. But for now, like if they make the tournament, I'd be surprised. I'll be
I mean,
surprised they make the tournament.
they just have to outscore Wales against who's the other team in the bracket? Iran, I think it
Mm-hmm.
is, right? So they just have to outscore them there because they'll probably both lose to England. So,
For sure. Yeah.
we just need a goal differential, which really stunk letting up that stupid PK. Like, fucking idiot. Why are you trying to make that move? Anyways, that's all I have for you for manager on manager. What do you got for me?
What's a short-term goal you're currently keyed in on?
Ooh, short-term
Short-term
goal.
or medium, just not a long-term, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't really thought about this too much. I guess the goal would be to be more consistent with video content and editing, right? And getting more
Yep.
structured in my day to day life. Sometimes I just get into the fuck, this is too much right now. And I got other things I need to do because I haven't done those things yet,
Yeah.
right? And I dwell on it. So, really just getting back on into a rhythm of, producing the content, post production, and that kind of stuff. Because that's what I want to do long term as well. But that the consistency piece is, I've taken off months from doing a podcast and stuff like that, and I've had a bunch of stuff go on in life too. But
Yep.
um, yeah, this whole coming up year thing is like consistency, consistency, consistency. Because I do believe in, the growth aspect or whatever like that, or the people that we can reach and what we can make out of the thing. And all it really is consistency. I heard somebody, I think he's a controversial guy, but or people think he's controversial. But have you heard of this dude Andrew Tate?
I thought you were gonna say Donald Trump. I was like, yeah, he's controversial.
No, this dude Andrew Tate.
Yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, so he's on Full Send podcast again. And he said something, and it just made me think about it the other day. And it was nobody who's been consistent and done things over and over and over and over and committed over the long term has ever failed. Right? You don't see a guy who eats right and goes to the gym and does the proper lifts and that kind of stuff not grow. Right? So he's like, that's
Mhm.
all it is you just have to keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going, and you'll get to where you want to get to. So
Okay.
he's like, otherwise it's an excuse. So that's I guess mine. Yeah, it made me really think about it over this last weekend when
Yeah.
you sent me the stuff, and then I was doing some other things, building out thumbnails, learning different things of editing and stuff like that too. So
Yeah, you're
uh,
pulling me in. This video creation or content creation stuff
it's the
on a small
best.
scale, like not the podcast. It's addicting
It's fun, dude.
because it's
It's
like
fun to learn.
I have those creative juices, some of them up there in my monkey brain. So like I get on Canva and like I'm like, oh, what can I do with this GIF?
Yeah,
How can I resize this picture and this picture and this video of us? I don't know. I like it. It's fun.
your thing, dude. You just need to consume more.
I know. I don't do that.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
when
do
you
it.
like you that I feel like that ends up making me think of like, okay, write the letters across, right, and
Yeah.
the wording, because what catches my eyes, and then okay, what font, right, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, and I look at the fonts and I'm like, well, that font catches my eye. I'm watching Mr. Beast. That shit looks fun. Boom, boom, boom. Look up what font does Mr. Beast use, right? And it's like, oh, he uses bangers, and then figure it out. And it's like, okay, how can I do this, or how can I gain more attention? Watching my kids watch. I asked Layla the other day. I was sitting with her for like 20 minutes before I went to work. She was watching YouTube Shorts, and I was like, "Why'd you swipe that one and you stayed on this one?" And
Hmm.
she's, and then like try to look at the videos because it's like, what is catching her eyes and what's
Hmm.
catching her attention, because that's what it does to me. But maybe I don't realize it while I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, think once you get into those a little bit more, then you're like, oh, okay, I want to do this
Mhm.
or I want to do this. And that's where I find the things. And then with the way the algorithms work, like you could see a whole nother side of those platforms than I do, right?
Mhm.
Like Matt or Terrence sends me stuff from TikTok. I have no idea where the hell it came from. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, this is like a 7 million view follower account. Like, I have no idea who this person is. Never heard of them. Whatever. Right? There's so many avenues based off people's interests. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. What's your short term?
So losing some weight ever since COVID hit. Where are we going on? Like 2 years now, two and a
Yep.
half years. I've been like 10 to 15 pounds heavy, just carrying it right around here. Got the dad bod going on. So
Yep.
busted out the Fitbit
There you
about
go.
2 weeks ago. So I've kept it under 2,000 calories, aiming for like, I don't know, 15 or 1,600. So like it tracks your exercise, your sleep, all of that shit. And yeah, if I want to, indulge a little bit, I know, all right, I got to burn, 500, 750 calories, to get that
Yeah.
takeout meal or whatever, that dessert or something like that. So far, so good. 2 weeks, already like a pound and a half, 2 pounds down.
Let's
So,
go.
but that's my goal, trying to hit that. This is gonna run like right into the new year. So hopefully I get it done before then, because like that crowd, that influx, you've heard me bitch about it on your podcast before.
Yep.
Like that crowd is such a turnoff for me in January when all the resolutioners. So I'm just getting it started early, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, you got everything in your garage. Just use that.
That's true.
Reps.
There's just something else, something different about like being at a gym with other people grinding, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Motivational.
I guess too, if like your family's inside and then you're not working out with somebody else too. Like if you had someone, that lived like a mile away, maybe 8/10 of a mile away, right? And then it's like, yo, we're fucking pumping iron at this time. Okay, boom, right? Like, because if they feel different when I'm just making a joke there. I probably won't go work out with you,
How
but
far away from me do you live?
about 8/10 of a mile. It's a 17-minute, 15-second walk at a decent pace, listening to Justin Bieber. Uh,
Noted.
Yeah, but and I went to Trey's house once and we worked out or whatever like that, and it was different than I think just being in there by yourself, essentially,
Yeah.
right? So kind of cool. But all right, cool. Let's move on to news and notes. So if you're new here, we'll go over a quick league standings update. So this podcast originated around just the 12 people and talking about our fantasy league, and we've kind of morphed it. But we're always going to keep our standings updated, what's going on in our league. So after 11 weeks, we got 5 teams, Tony, tied at the top, 7-4. It's a battle. Like I came back from 50 points down, right, with 3 players, and he had Connor on Monday night get a victory,
Hmm.
slide up in here. But I started thinking about it. I was like, man, if I was 6-5 right now, I'm sweating. But yeah, 5 players at 7-4. Pocket Dogs 2 out to handle. Boner Jams 03, Eskimo Brothers, and the Vinegar Strokes. That's me. One team at 6-5 with the last playoff spot, and that is the Murder Boners. 5-6 on the fringe of the playoffs. Password is Taco, probably the longest standing, successful 1-2
Hmm.
of the league, sitting here at 5-6 this year. I shaved my balls for this in the Milford Academy. 4-7, that's you, Tony Patriot. I mean, you're only 2 spots out, dog, of the playoffs. Like you could sneak in there here in the next couple weeks. Highly unlikely, especially if you play me. My squad is legit. And then at 3-8, bringing up the rear, you got IR 3-8, as in 8 for Thanksgiving,
Nice.
and the 3 penis wine rounding out the bottom of the standings. So we'll see where that goes next week. This week is going to be critical. It's kind of tough because you got Thursday games, Sunday games, man, Monday games. You got
Yeah,
way more tilt to deal with, right? Like we better win some money in gambling this Thanksgiving, or else we're going to have a hard time over the weekend.
for
So,
sure.
all right. Moving on to the NFL. Nick Sirianni stands on the bench and yells at what looks like Colts fans, and it pretty much turned out to be Colts fans after a 17-16 victory over Jeff Saturday. And he claims he was emotional due to his thoughts on Frank Wright firing. Give me your thoughts here. I think I heard the audio from the other side where he was like, "That was for Frank Reich. That
Yeah.
was for Frank Reich." What do you think about this whole situation?
I saw it. I thought long and hard about it, and I respect it. If I ever get fired, prematurely, as I believe Frank Reich did, I would want my former employees, the people who, I was entrusted to lead, I would want them standing on the benches, talking shit to the opposing team's fans, 100%. I love it. I love the move. I
That
love the
was
move.
it was the weakest little bitch move that I've seen this year in the NFL. This was worse than Zach Wilson sitting there saying,
No.
"Do you feel one? Zach Wilson should not feel responsible to the defense. The defense, he doesn't play defense. Did he let the defense down? No, they did their job. He does his job as quarterback. He let the offense down. He let himself down. He let his mother down. He let his friend's mother down, who he's sleeping with. Like, oh, my nose is itchy too. Like, this is terrible. You're a fucking grown up, a head coach in the NFL, and you're talking about a guy who got fired because you used to work there, you came from that tree or whatever like that. The guy stunk. The last 2 years, what have we talked about? The Indianapolis Colts preseason. This is a team that can go and win the Super Bowl or compete for the Super Bowl. They suck. He got fired, and then you are complaining he shouldn't have got fired. No, you're complaining because you had to come back from 14 points down to beat a team that you is led by a coach who you don't think deserves the job, who coaches better and gets people to play better than the guy that you're worried about.
Mm-hmm.
You're upset because you should have won by 2 touchdowns, but you couldn't because they fired your fucking homie. That's what you're upset about.
Oh yeah, if Frank Reich was still there, they Philly by 32.
Exactly. It looks like the fucking Cowboys Vikings.
So he was just a
That's
little
what he's
heated.
upset about, right? I mean, Jesus Christ, like just fucking, you talk about the professionalism of all this, and all these people talk about it, right? And like, oh, Zach Wilson, this, and then this is just like a pass. Yeah, we get it, man. They fired a guy who was a coach and he's been a coach in the NFL. Well, sorry, man. Like we talk about it, in our line of work or the line of work I was in, kind of still am. It's like these old heads don't fucking get it. When you get someone that's younger, that identifies more with people, can motivate people, that's all that matters from that position. The other guy didn't do it. And they won a game, and then they lost by 1 point to the best team in the NFL. And you're shitting on the guy.
To further contextualize maybe some of the emotions going on, the GM who has been bringing in these washed quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers,
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. I think Jacoby Brissett probably counts because he was, post Andrew Luck, but they're kind of short on time. But they paid him right for I think 2 or 3 years. He's still there, right? Is Ballard? He's still there. What's he going to do this offseason? Bring in Derek Carr and probably still have a job, 2 years down the road when they still don't do anything. So I think you just have to kind of think about all those things. So I agree. It's kind of a messed up situation. Happy for Jeff Saturday. Happy for Nick Sirianni that they got the win. Jim Irsay is one of probably the top 5 worst owners in the NFL. He's up there with Snyder and Jerry Jones.
Yeah. If Matt Ryan wasn't benched that 1 week for Ellinger when he was able to play, right? He had that 1 week where he was out because he was hurt. The other week he could have played, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not going to play," or whatever like that. If he would have played that week, he'd be like number 5 in the league in passing yards. Because when they benched him, he was like number 6 or something like that. Yeah. He was a top passing quarterback. They were putting up the stuff, they just weren't getting into the end zone, right? And I think you can understand that when teams get down to the goal line, i.e., the Denver Broncos, and you can't punch it in, it probably has something a little bit more to do with the coaching of a team than the players on the field. Right. Anyways, that was chump. That was bitch shit. And I don't give a shit what Matt says. I might bring him on one time just to shit on him about the Eagles. He's literally scared. I mean, he's afraid of a 6-5 team or 6-4 team or whatever like that right now, right? Like, I mean, he's terrified during the game.
Oh, he's not going to like my overrated underrated call here in a little bit.
He's devastated every time the Niners play. He's like, oh my, he's just texting me watching the Niners. Like, I don't even watch the Eagles. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, and both of your guys' take on your guys' episode for this week's preview on the RPO is complete bullshit. So it's the weakest take to ever have that.
You talking about the ineligible man downfield?
Ineligible man downfield because they're running RPO, then don't run it because it's a fucking penalty.
I get so mad because there's some plays in Madden where if you throw to the guy in motion, you'll get called for it every time. And I'm like, that's such a good route. It's like this wheel route from a fast ass receiver from the other side of the field. It's perfect. No one defends it, but 9 times out of 10, yellow flag, ineligible man downfield. So my frustration is born out of the Madden calls. That's all.
The same rule applies in the college game. Why do they get so many more calls in the NFL than they do in the college game? It's almost like kids that are younger obey the rules. I got fucking coughs, man. This is crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see Ohio State, who runs that play pretty much every single time, get a bunch of, ineligible downfield calls or anything like that. So
Yeah. Well,
change the rule in the offseason and abide by it. It's crazy. Anyways, let's move on to overrated, underrated. So we started this last week. We got the majority of our feedback on the socials, YouTube, Twitter, um, TikTok, and that kind of stuff from this segment. So it seems like people like it. If you want to add some context, you can. If not, just say overrated, underrated. And this is the team edition. Overrated, underrated, San Francisco 49ers.
underrated.
Overrated, underrated, Philadelphia Eagles.
Overrated, Matt.
Amen. Overrated, underrated, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Overrated.
Ooh, we're going to get back on that. Overrated, underrated, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Underrated.
Overrated, underrated, the Dallas Cowboys.
Overrated.
Okay. We got to touch on some of these.
Okay.
One, why the Chargers? I get the Niner one. I get the Eagle one. Why the Chargers? Overrated.
They've been
Why are they overrated? They stink.
They've been honey dicking us. The Chargers have the last 2 years. At some point, we just have to say, no, they're not like a really good team. They're just in the mix with like decent NFL teams. They get injured every year. The coaching's bad every year. Herbert could be the best quarterback in the league. Maybe. I don't know. He makes some incredible throws, but they underachieve year after year, no matter who they sign. Key injuries year after year. They have no depth. What does Tennessee do when they have all these key injuries?
Yeah.
They secure the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. They keep winning this year. Like, come on. Mm-hmm. At some point, you have to say, okay, they're just overrated. Move on. Staley's overrated. He was a good defensive coordinator for the Rams for 1 year, and then he got a shot as a head coach. Hasn't done anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fell for him. I fell for him this year. Maybe not so much last year, but I thought they were going to take the division this year with all the changes, the moving pieces in Kansas City. So some frustration maybe from that.
I did too. And they were basically a game out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Right. Last year.
Yep. That game with the Raiders, right?
How many more games do they make the playoffs with Jeff Saturday as coach?
The Colts?
Yeah.
Or the Chargers?
The Chargers.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. It's almost like, what about Frank Reich? Nah. The guy stinks.
Who's his GM? If it's Ballard and they don't bring in a 37-year-old quarterback, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. The Bengals, why do you say underrated?
So they're second in the division right now. Like, I think they're losing to Tennessee this week. That game's in Tennessee. But Baltimore, so overrated. They can't score points. They almost lost to Carolina. Did you watch that game? It was 3-3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was terrible.
There's other.
I had an over 46. It was fucking dead in like 3 minutes. I was like, God, never mind. Just burn it. I don't even want to try to hedge.
Andrews, he's injured. Seems like he's coming back. I think he had like 8 targets last week, but Bateman's out for the year. Duvernay's kind of up and down. Prochet's up and down. Like, I think Demarcus Robinson, who has been their leading receiver the last 2 weeks. Like, he's not a number one.
Yeah.
So I don't put it all on Lamar, but the team is just overrated. So I think the Bengals, I think they're just kind of being overlooked. I think they'll end up winning that division this year.
I have a Ravens ticket that I put in a couple weeks ago for them to win the division. I think it was like plus 700 or something like that. So I'm looking forward to cashing that. And then you said the Cowboys overrated. Why so?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are overrated. They played one competent team, the Packers, and they lost. They lost that game. They played Tampa Bay. Would they lose that game like 19-3 or 21-3 or something? Like, Tampa Bay is not a great team. They especially weren't a great team at that point in the season, right? They're starting to figure it out. But I think they're just like maybe in that second or third tier. Like, I think they can challenge a couple of these teams in the NFC, but like put them up against the 49ers. They're not beating the 49ers in the playoffs. Yeah. I don't even know if they beat the Eagles. I think that'd be a good game though. We're going to see that this year, right? But yeah, I think they're just being overrated. I mean, it's Dallas. They're always overrated. They're on a pedestal,
I think
right?
They have the best front four on the defensive side in all of football, right?
Yep.
They put so much pressure on. I think that's a huge thing, right? You want to win in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And I think I feel like the Niners, right? So the Niners beat the Cowboys in the playoffs last year based off Dak Prescott being dumb, essentially, right? The Cowboys should have won that game and went and played the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. And I think that the Niners, I was talking to somebody at work today about this, but I think the Niners ended up getting Christian McCaffrey to combat that single pass rush. They didn't need to get another running back. They didn't need to give up anything
Yeah.
else, right? Like they had what was good and could work, but to neutralize a pass rush, and I think they looked at the Cowboys at this point of, okay, what was our problems last year? You had the
Mm-hmm.
Rams and the Cowboys. Who's the problem this year? It's the Cowboys. The Eagles have a decent front four too, right? But it's not the Cowboys one. Like Michael Parsons is insane. He's the best, he's probably the best player. It's like him and TJ Watt, probably the best players in the NFL that like completely dominate a position that nobody else can do, right? Like you have other quarterbacks who can, if they were on the Kansas City Chiefs, would throw for 5,000 yards. You know how many people are going to edge rush and end up getting the quarterback what seems like every single play.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I think the Cowboys are actually underrated, and I think it's just because of Philly's success. But I think that Philly might be Philly could be a one and done in the playoff.
You think in the playoffs Dallas beats San Francisco this year?
No.
You think in the playoffs Dallas beats Tampa Bay this year?
Yes.
You think they do?
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy? You think he's going to outcoach anybody in the playoffs?
Nope.
I don't think so.
But I think that the talent that they have on that defensive line, you get a stagnant Brady who cannot move whatsoever, and nothing to come out of the backfield that is like going to scare you, right?
You know how you neutralize a Micah Parsons pass rush?
Playoff Lenny.
You have playoff Lenny just chip the shit out of him.
Yeah. I
I
think the
think the
NFC
Bucks
is up
have
to those two
something
teams.
for a second matchup with Dallas that they didn't have in the first one.
Yeah.
Shad White. If you watched him play, he's that guy. He's Tom Brady's little dump off guy. You don't like it?
No, because everybody was on him before the season, and then you just watch Leonard Fournette tear it up, and then you're going to watch it happen in the last few weeks of fantasy playoffs whenever he's playing that dude, and he's going to get 3 points. That's what's going to happen. So
maybe
Leonard Fournette is still the person there. He dominated. He's better at football than Rashad White. So just because someone's faster does not mean they're better at football. Move on. So when I made these notes, there was another quarterback change that happened, right? Sam Darnold, let's start with the one. We're going to touch on the other one too. Sam Darnold has been named the starter for this week's home game against the Broncos and with the Carolina Panthers. How many pick sixes are we betting that this dude throws? Are we just Broncos defense first to score? Broncos defense score a touchdown. Sam Darnold pick, right? Sam Darnold pick six, whatever props we can get on a pick six from Sam Darnold.
Honestly, that's probably the play, right? Denver defense first to score, but the odds aren't going to be good because their offense sure as hell isn't going to do anything.
They'll be like fucking plus 350. You're
Yeah,
like, what the
fuck? They got the best defense, like the hardest defense to score against. They've allowed the fewest points Denver's defense has. So good luck, Sam. I'm thinking 2 to 3 turnovers, possibly a touchdown for the Denver defense. It would certainly help the team because they're having a hard time getting over, 16 points this season?
Yeah.
On offense?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What about Zach Wilson? He gets benched by Robert Saleh. We got Mike White coming in, played for the Jets this week. The Jets, 6-point favorites. I think they're 6-point favorite against the Bears, sitting at home.
Yep.
The Jets to win by 6. Do they do it with Mike White? And how many passing yards does Mike White throw for? Let's take into account he threw for like 6,000 of them in 2 games last year.
I think they'll try to limit the mistakes that Mike White can make. Kind of what they were doing with Zach Wilson, right? He wasn't throwing very much. So I say probably like 200, maybe 225. The Bears, they're going to suck against this defense with or without Justin Fields. Because like if Fields does play, I think he's day-to-day right now is what they're calling it. Separated shoulder. Like he's not going to be running as much. If he does, he's not going to be, forcing the issue, right? Trying to break tackles, getting 40 yards a clip. So yeah, I think they can cover this. Mike White will have a decent day. It's good news for like Elijah Moore, Tyler Conklin, Michael Carter, the running backs out of the backfield especially. So yeah, I would take the Jets in this game though.
Yeah. I think he's going to throw for over 300. I think they're going to try to do something there to be able to, perk up, see if Zach Wilson's a competitor or not, right? I don't think they're going to try to run the ball, control the game, play good defense. I think they're going to try to put up points. And maybe light a fire under the dude somehow and see how he responds and determine whether or not he's the guy there or not. 6 points seems like a lot. Justin Fields, I don't know why. So like when I was watching that game, I initially thought he like hurt his hamstring.
I think he did.
Right? Because that's when he stopped running.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, why is he? There's 20 yards of field on the right hand side, and he's like, he gets out there, and then he starts to like trickle back to look for someone to pass, right? And then all the reports came out where like, oh, separated shoulder, and I was, oh, it's his leg that's fucked up. So I don't know. Maybe it just goes on to our, if you watch, is Justin Fields the worst quarterback in the NFL video on YouTube? Make sure you hit that like button and give us a comment what you think. Tony's ridiculous takes. They're out erroneous in that clip from the last podcast, but yeah, I think it just goes to show that you can't do that in the NFL. And I am right and you're wrong. And this dude stinks.
Hey, for fantasy, a quarterback wants to run 12, 13 times a game for 100 yards a game. Yes, please.
But
for
you know
NFL,
what?
This is not
fantasy quarterbacks don't stick around in the NFL for too long, right? If you're solely a fantasy quarterback. Colin Kaepernick, Tim Tebow with his rushing upside and touchdowns and rushing.
Cam
it's
Newton's
all the same
one.
stuff. Cam Newton, same thing. Cam Newton played pretty long.
I mean, early 30s is when he kind of washed out, right?
Still,
we talked about like there's quarterbacks in their mid to late 30s still playing. Tom Brady, 45, he doesn't run.
He got 2 new contracts though. That's pretty damn good. So
that's fair.
Went to the Super Bowl and then cried because he got smoked by. Yeah. All right. Last weekend, Tony, we started this thing where we're like, hey, on your podcast, the 58 West King podcast, available on all socials. And I saw you posting your audio on YouTube again, too, which is pretty cool because you guys showed your little graph and that kind of stuff, too. So at 58 West King podcast, it's all linked down below in the description for you guys. Go click that, subscribe to everywhere, listen to it, give them hell because it's erroneous over there,
Please
too.
Do.
It's terrible. Don't listen, but listen. Listen to give them the shit feedback and say, these guys don't even know football. So, yeah. We started on your podcast. You guys pick winners heads up, right? Every single week. You've been doing good. You're beating the experts. You're beating that Jack Wagon, who's pretty decent in Poland. Adam Rank, who stood you up twice, 3 times.
3 times.
What's that? Once, twice, 3 times. A hater. But we decided last week that we'd start doing our top 3 bets that we would bet against the spread. We're not handicappers. We're not pros. We're just regular Joes who like to gamble and then get tilted and send 75 group texts, within 6 minutes or whatever like that. And next thing you know, you got, everybody on tilt. So, and laughing at each other. And one guy goes the opposite way. When you think that the Packers, and you're like, hey, the Packers are going to get a better line once the Titans go down. Oh, let the Titans get a field goal here. You'll get the Packers at plus odds, whatever like that. Bet the Packers. Nope, get smoked. And then he just, Packers, shut up. Fuck it, David Richter. Can't even believe I gave you kudos last week. But we're doing top 3 bets that we like against the spread. Look, we're not pros. Don't take our advice. Take our advice. What do you want to do? I don't care. Just tell us how bad we are. Give us engagement. So with this, one of them has to be a Thanksgiving Day game, Tony.
Okay.
All right. So let's go snake style. You give me your top one. Or let's recap last week. You went with the Washington Commanders, the Vikings, and the Titans. You finished 2-1. I went 0-3 with the Jets and that fucking debacle. Like, you couldn't even tackle the guy. They can't even call a fucking block in the back.
It was a block from the side.
Every single punt return has a block in the back. Every single punt return. Watch all the tape. All 22s. Every time someone returns a punt, there's a punt block in the back.
Hey, it was cold. Refs wanted to get the hell out of there.
It was not from the side. It was bullshit. They were tired of dealing with it. They were like, we can't even show this game on TV anymore. Yeah. And it was like the national game of the week. And they're like, yeah, we're just not going to show that anymore. And
the ratings were terrible.
They literally took it off the TV in
MASH,
the third quarter.
MASH, which they're already interrupting, would have gotten better ratings. They had to get it off the air.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
The Jets debacle and the Broncos debacle. Their coaching is so bad that dude needs to be fired.
Agreed.
And Jeff Saturday takes that team to the playoffs. And I had the Vikings to cover also, and that obviously didn't go well. I went 0-3. Anyways, your top 3 bets. Start with 1. We'll go snake style. You 1, and then give me two, and then you two.
Okay.
They could overlap, but it's just how we'll talk about it.
For sure. So the first one's a Thanksgiving game. Detroit to cover. They're plus 9.5 on DraftKings and FanDuel. So you get the same line there. They're beating their over 70% of the time this season, which is good for second in the NFL. So give me Detroit to cover.
Oh, that was one of the first ones that I thought about. Trying to move my little screen here.
They've won 3 straight.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go.
They are on the largest winning streak in the NFC right now at 3.
I would not be surprised. It's a shit show in the NFC.
I initially had the Lions as one. Oh my God, I got the burps. I initially had the Lions as one of them. And then I changed that because for some reason, I think about you're not as good as you were last week and you're not as bad as you were last week, right? The Bills are probably the number one power rated team in the NFL. Maybe the Chiefs have overtaken them. They're power rated pretty high, right? Which is why you're getting 9.5 and they haven't been playing well. They had a snowstorm. They had to go to Detroit. They flew back to Detroit. They flew back to Buffalo. They're going back to Detroit. The Lions are on a run. It's a home Thanksgiving. It just feels like a trap to bet the Lions right there when everything should be the Bills' way, right? That's why I initially had it down. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to stay away from it. And I ended up going even bigger spread. I'm going with the Cowboys at -10 against the New York Giants at home on Thanksgiving. Reason being is that the New York Giants are down 4 offensive linemen, right? Or 1 is questionable, 3 are definitely out. Daniel Jones is, I mean, it's just going to be terrible. Like the havoc is going to come. The team just got done, blowing out one of the best, the best team in the NFC at the time, right? Is them and the Eagles essentially. But I feel like it's just going to be something that is like, all right, we're going to show you someone on this team's going to get the turkey leg or something like that. So
I like that one too, because not only are they down several offensive linemen, including, I believe, Evan Neal, right? The first round draft pick, one of their first round draft picks, but also Wan'Dale Robinson done for the year.
Yeah.
Right. He tore a ligament. So they're down to Darius Slayton and I think Richie James at receiver. Kenny Galladay, dude's an afterthought, right? So not much to throw against.
The good thing is that Kenny Galladay sits on the outside and you get Darius Slayton over the middle with 10 targets a game. And he's on my fantasy team.
So it's good for Slayton's target. Yeah. Prospects for sure.
Yeah. Like he's just going to have to catch. I'm going to hope to get like 12 PPR points out of him. And he's going to have 3 yards because they're all just going to be bubble screens that he catches and can't go anywhere. It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
All right. My second one. I'm going off of Thanksgiving now. This just oh my God. I keep betting against this team, and they're going against a team that I keep betting against also, right? But they have probably the best coach in the NFL in Mike Vrabel. I am going to take the Tennessee Titans at home. They're 2.5-point dogs at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. Why should the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Tennessee Titans?
These guys are in my underdog round robin bet this week.
I don't know why the Titans should be an underdog against almost anybody, but maybe the Bills, maybe the Chiefs.
Even then, they beat those guys, right? Last season, the year before, regular season.
I pick them against the night. Like they're just that well coached, and they do their job, right? Like they run the ball down your throat until you give up. Essentially,
they don't turn the ball over. They play solid defense. Yeah, I like them a lot. I like that one. I like both of those.
Titans 2.5.
My second one is Kansas City covering against the Rams. I don't usually jump on double digit. I don't usually jump on double digit spreads because they're scary. They scare me. This one's 14.5 on DK, 15.5 on Fan. I would even take the 15.5.
I can see this being it's 15.5 when we're going off.
I can see this game being like 30-3. No Stafford, no Wolford, no Cup. More offensive linemen are injured. Everyone's just getting injured. I don't even. Sean McVay might have he's in the concussion protocol. He's probably not going to coach. Rams are such a disaster right now, which is good for next season. Schedule is going to be soft, but man, give me like. Let me tease that up. Let me tease that up to what can we get out of that? 21.5
minus 21.5. You get some better odds.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. All
Uh,
right. Your last one.
the other one is San Fran to cover against New Orleans. It's
Mm,
up there. It's a 9.5 on DK, 8.5 on FanDuel. Probably
yep.
take FanDuel. Take the
We'll
better.
get you your 8.5 there.
Okay, take the better line there. New Orleans stinks. They beat the Rams recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Barely.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 27-20. They lost to the Steelers by 10 a week prior. And in week 9, they lost to Baltimore 13-27.
Yeah.
None of those teams are complete, right? Complete football teams right now or at the time. But San Fran's a complete team. We already talked about them. Probably
Yeah.
underrated. Wherever you have them rated, it probably needs to be higher, right? They should be the favorites coming out of the NFC. Um, San Fran should cover this though. I like this one.
Yeah. I want to take a big spread too, but I'm not going to. I'll give you my honorable mentions here
Okay.
after, but I'm going to take Monday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Indianapolis Colts. Steelers are a 2.5-point dog. I I bet this one. I just bet the money line. I don't even want to take the points. I think that the Steelers beat them. The Steelers offense is starting to click a little bit more, right? They came off the bye and they got Kenny Pickett a little bit more reps on practice and stuff like that. He seemed to be a little bit more fluent, understanding of the offense, getting the wide receivers involved. Najee got a little bit of room. And the Colts have put out two very valiant efforts the last 2 weeks, right? They get a new coach. You play hard, this. They're due for a letdown, and no better coach to do it against than Mike Tomlin. I don't know why, like the Colt, like we like Jeff Saturday, right? We root for the guy because he gets shit on by the media and stuff like that, right? But at no point should the Colts be a favorite against pretty much anybody in the league. If Frank Reich was there, they'd be a dog because it's like these guys stink, right? And then they got someone that they believe doesn't coach as well or whatever like that. They have a lot riding on it. I think that the momentum that they have going on, which I don't believe in momentum personally, but I don't believe in it for myself, but which is weird because I think I do. That's for another episode. But
It's that interim head coach bump. Look what Rick Bisaccia did last year with the Raiders.
yeah,
I don't think they had any business being in the playoffs, right? Like
yeah,
beginning of the season with John Gruden, they were a disaster. But Bisaccia comes in, lots of controversy. The team's marred in controversy. They make a run. They make the playoffs. They get bounced by the Bengals, but
yeah.
could see something similar happening to Jeff Sunday and the Colts. He's Jeff
Jeff
Sunday now,
Sunday.
right?
Hashtag Jeff Sunday. That's got to be trending, right? If not, let's start it.
I made it up. I didn't see that shit anywhere. So
Let's look it up. Let's get that started.
give me
Yeah, I'm gonna
credit
take
for
the
that.
Steelers. I'm gonna take the Steelers 2.5. My honorable mentions here: Seahawks -3.5 at home against the Raiders. The Raiders suck. They stink. Like they're just not a good football team. They're one of the worst coached football teams as well. I had the Miami Dolphins -13.5 against the Houston Texans. The Dolphins can just put up points, right? And I think that over-unders sitting, where is it sitting at? It's sitting at 46.5 right now. I would take the under on that because they could possibly win like, I don't know what,
42-3.
Yeah, something like that, right? It's like it seemed to be a common thread. I had that one there. The Commanders -4 against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons got a boost because they kept a score tight last week based off a kickoff return, which is more than likely never going to happen again. And the Jaguars +4 against the Ravens because the Ravens just don't seem to have it. So those were my honorable mentions.
Okay. I had Tennessee, Seattle as well.
Yeah.
Lined up just in case.
Cool. Let's move on to a draft, Tony. Look, Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Most people are probably going to be listening to this on Thanksgiving because why wouldn't you want to listen to this family-friendly show on fucking Thanksgiving? Or after. Maybe you're out Black Friday shopping, right? You're getting your podcast in, you got your earphones, your AirPods in. You don't want to hear all the people hustling and bustling, arguing or whatever, fighting over TVs and stuff that only go up to 720 in 2022. But you're going to need gifts to buy, Tony. The holiday season's here, Christmas. We're thinking about what do we get somebody, right? And we just can't get each other heartfelt gifts. That's kind of like insert bleep here for saying the word. But yeah, we can't get each other heartfelt gifts. You got to get each other gag gifts, right? Fantasy football is about shitting on your buddies, talking trash, and then putting them in awkward situations like this podcast right now. So our draft this week is going to be the top 5 gag gifts, top 5 gag gifts for Christmas. I'll go first. You like the turn?
Yeah.
I'm going to buffer all of these picks with, there's a website called thisiswhyimbroke.com. And it's just the most ridiculous shit, whatever, with a bunch of links on where to go buy stuff, right? So this is where I got all of them. So if you want to go look, you see something here that you like, you can go to thisiswhyimbroke.com. Not a sponsor, no free ads. I might bleep it out. The number 1 gag gift that I'm going to pick is a sexy lamp. So a sexy lamp, Tony. They have these things. There's a link. I might just try to link all the stuff that I found down in the description or whatever like that. They're not affiliate links. I may need to figure out how to do an affiliate link, but maybe later on I'll edit that, and put that in there. But the sexy lamp, they have all kinds, Tony. Like you got the leg lamp, like you got, or whatever in A Christmas Story. But they also have these boob wall mounted lights that you just tap. So when you walk by, you just tap this tit that's like stuck to your wall, right? And you can get them in all different cup sizes. So whatever you like, you can have like a 38D hanging off the side of your wall, and you just slap it right on the nipple. It turns on the light. You can walk down the hallway. They got these ones that are like full size butts, essentially, right? That like from the bottom of the the butt cheek area of the leg all the way up to the part of the waist.
Yeah.
And they have them in all different colors. So you just put those on your nightstand. You wake up, you slap the ass, the light turns on, you can see where you're going. Get your friends a sexy lamp.
I'm on the website right now. There's some ridiculous stuff. The third item down is it's a butt plug, and it's a taco holder.
So good.
That's good.
You got 2 picks coming up, Tony. Damn it! I shouldn't have said the site name. Beep.
I've already got my picks. You didn't.
Okay.
You didn't. Okay. You're not gonna take a single one of mine, guaranteed.
Okay.
First one, we'll start at vanilla, right? One of those bags of hard candy that's kind of shaped like male genitalia. That's usually a good one to get things going, right? Someone in this league may have sent 1 or 2 bags out to random people. We're still trying to get to the bottom of that.
Yep.
That was a long time. Was that in New Mexico when someone was doing that?
No, it was I was in California when I was hearing about all this controversy. I think you guys are a bunch of people that were in Colorado, and then the receiver Wayne, R.I.P. One-Eyed Wayne was in Maryland, and legend has it that Wayne was getting gummy dicks sent to his house in the mail, and one day he came home from work, and his toddler daughter was eating gummies. And he's like, oh, and he goes and looks, and his toddler daughter's eating the gummy dicks or whatever, because they're actual gummies, right? Whatever. Yeah. But yeah, he's like, my goddamn daughter ate 40 dicks today. I don't know who sent those, but that guy should be punished.
Yeah, so we got to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Wayne. He couldn't be here with us today.
Yeah, he couldn't be here with us today.
So he's still alive. He couldn't podcast. He's not dead. So I got another pick here. What order do I want to go in? I don't even know. I'll just go in the order I typed them up. A jar of coleslaw. I almost, like, it had tons of mayonnaise in this. I almost gagged just typing that up. So that's my second one.
You don't like coleslaw?
Disgusting.
Why?
No, it makes me want to throw up. I do not like it. It's too much mayonnaise. Way too much mayonnaise. Not a huge fan of cabbage either.
Ooh, I'm a big cabbage guy.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 2, right? And these are things that you definitely send your buddies, right? And this is actually a nice one, right? This is something that helps boost the self-esteem of your buddy. It might get your buddy a little more action when he goes out on a Friday night. Shout out Julian. But they're called the show-off socks. So the show-off sock is like a long white tube sock, right? And you wear it. But as your pant leg comes up, it reveals an image of what looks like meat hanging down the side in the shape of an erection or a soft genitalia gland. So it looks like your cock is hanging all the way down to the bottom of your pant leg. And it's comical, right? You might be the guy, this is a game of inches. Ask the Jets, 2.7 inches of play in the second half. Tony likes all the small things, right? Thinking about all the small things on this podcast. Yeah, the show off sock, because you get a wiener on it. You really can't wear it anywhere. Like you'll want to wear it, right? But you really can't. And that's what kind of makes Gag Gifts like really good. Like you
Yeah.
can't really pull them out, but you want to, but you're gonna get in trouble.
It's fun around the house, right?
Yeah, yeah. You got to explain to your kids what the hell's on your sock.
It's a rocket. I'm in the Space Force.
We're penetrating ozones. All right. My number 3 is going to be custom undies with your face on the front of them. So imagine, Tony, you get a pair of good boxers or something like that. Some boxer briefs, right? They fit really good. I mean, a good poly blend type material keeps it light. You don't get a bunch of sweat there. You're manscaped. You're using a little ball deodorant, lotion stuff, whatever. You're feeling good. You're looking good, and then you pull down your pants. You're getting ready to have a good old time for the night, and there's Nate just like on the front of your crotch. It's the best. It's the best thing. And you know what? We all, as dudes, right? I mean, I don't know how it is for people that are married. You guys probably got laundry service and stuff like that going on. But as a single dude, I gotta do my own laundry. And the time that I know that I have to do my own laundry is when I run out of underwear. Like that's when I do laundry, right? So can you imagine this is the last pair of underwear? You get ready to go out for a night. You forgot to do some laundry. You go, and then you're gonna get some action. And there's your homie's face right on the front of your crotch. It's perfect.
Do these come like in reversible? Can you get like Nate on one side, Cotton on the other? Because everybody knows like you don't just wear underwear once, right? You wear them once normal, then you turn them inside out. You got 2 wears at least.
I heard you had 4.
Well, that's if you want to like go on a road trip, you want to pack light. It's normal inside out, and then you just flip them around and do the same thing. So yeah. Pro tip.
All right. Nice. You got 2.
So I'm starting to think I misunderstood the point of this, but my third one is a Whataburger cheeseburger. Really, anything off their menu makes you gag, makes you throw
terrible. Up. That's terrible.
Yeah, disgusting. We got a second location opening up like within minutes of my house. There's one on Dublin. We were about to have one on Constitution. Like it's disgusting. Get that crap back in Texas. We don't want it.
There's one in Dublin, on Dublin too?
Yeah, right there by Chick-fil-A and the new Panera. It's disgusting, man. It's so gross. Don't like it.
Imagine being, like the Los Angeles Rams and trying to move closer to the San Francisco 49ers. It's just not going to end up well for you. And that's what Whataburger's doing to In-N-Out. They just try to put them right across the street from each other. And it's like, it's just not, you're going to get your feelings hurt. You're going to get your feelings hurt. You got another one.
Anyways, my fourth one, a tonsil examination. If you ever had the doctor in there with that stick to push your tongue down, like you're gonna gag, right? Maybe you got some tonsillitis going on, but like you're gonna gag, possibly throw up on the doctor. So that's number 4.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm interested to see what your number 5 gag gift is.
So. You'll like the 5th one. I think that you'll get a kick out of the 5th one.
Yeah. All right, I got 2 left, and so I will go with, look, Tony, we're men. We play fantasy football. Yep. What is it that we do?
Shit with the door open.
Next.
Make our own beef jerky.
So when you're making your own beef jerky for $225, you can get a pair of beef jerky underwear.
Really?
Swear to God, I even looked up the price. I got the prices for all of these things, right? The show-off socks are $15. You got variable prices for the sexy lamp ranging from $85 anywhere up to like $500-$600 for the big butt ones. Like if you want a Brazilian one or something like that. Your custom undies with the face on it, $20. Beef jerky underwear, $225. I don't know if it's like elk or something like that, but maybe you can cut the price down. You can come up and manufacture your own beef jerky first and say, hey, I want to make some undies out of this. You get them all kinds of ways. It's a thing apparently. So I'm going to go with the beef jerky underwear. I mean, it's also got a use to it, right? Like you can just sit there and eat your own shorts or whatever like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. But $225 worth of beef jerky underwear.
Jerky underwear. What is the hard candy like thongs you could buy from Spencer's? I remember seeing those back in the day.
Yeah,
good
like
stuff.
the candy necklace types or whatever that we have.
Yep.
And then my last one is going to be. We got a guy in this league, Brandon, and his favorite band, Nickelback.
Yep.
Right? Nickelback is his favorite band. You can get a look at this photograph picture frame, and it's got the guy from Nickelback as a body holding out a picture frame that you can put your family in or whatever like that. It's pretty comical.
So good.
Yeah, it'll run you $32 out there on the interwebs. You might get free shipping. Hey, it's Black Friday. Get out there and get these steals. See if you can get you a look at this photograph picture frame by Nickelback. It's pretty good. Put
good.
that in your house.
It's one of the meme templates I have, like, just queued up, ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Last pick?
Yep.
All right. Any mention of the Houston Astros? Likely to throw up, guaranteed to gag.
Yeah, that is definitely good.
Yeah, that's gross.
Bye. Yeah. All right, let's recap, and then we'll go into honorable mentions. So, top 5 gag gifts for this coming up Christmas. I got the sexy lamp, show off socks, custom undies with my face on them or your face on them, whoever you want to. You put your own face on it, gift it to somebody. You got the beef jerky underwear because we're men and we shit with the door open. Picture frame by Nickelback. To look at this photograph picture frame. Tony's things that he wants for gagging. You got Dick candies. You got a jar of coleslaw because of all the mayonnaise. You got the Whataburger cheeseburger. Terrible. You got a tonsil examination. And any mention of the Houston Astros is definitely a gag gift for anybody this Christmas. Did you have any honorable mentions?
I didn't. I just brought those 5. Assumed you wouldn't come close to them.
Yeah, I had 6. The other one was there's these for $10, right? A bar. You can get these poop soap bars that look like a fucking turd, essentially, but they like smell really good, like vanilla or something like that, but they're in the shape of a turd. So pretty comical there.
There you
go. Last segment here before we get out of here, Tony. Rants and raves. You got a rant or rave coming out of this week with the understanding that it is Thanksgiving.
I got a rant.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not. I've already been thankful. I was thankful for a lot of things at the beginning of this about an hour ago. I'm going to rant about these auto drafters in your fucking league, man. They're both in the playoffs right now. One's like the 3 seed. The other's like the 6 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand once you get in season, like these guys are doing roster management. They're making start sit, whatever, right? They're, making fab bids, whatever. Pick your guys in the draft, build your roster. There's that's the rest of it, right? Snipe your opponents. Be there with us, right? You're on the clock. You got 2 minutes, go, a minute and a half, whatever it is. Like, you're letting the computer do that. You're letting the algorithm build your roster. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not just going to take the top ranked player every time, right? Otherwise you'd end up with like 5 running backs, 5 receivers. There's an algorithm that builds your roster for you to make it like the most efficient roster out there. You're a coward if you're not doing that. I don't care if you have other arrangements, right? Nate goes out of his way to make sure that everyone's available when we draft in this league. Just like probably most commissioners do. You have no excuse. And I'm glad Nate is addressing this in the offseason. I'm so pissed.
No more auto drafts.
My playoff spots.
Live draft. I don't give a shit if you live across the globe, maybe in Germany, potentially by next fantasy football season. You coming to Colorado.
Make it work.
No. I do want to try to do that. Like, that's why I don't mind drafting like July, August, super early or whatever like that. Like, if we could do a meetup or something like that and draft our teams or whatever, at that point, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, everybody's got to be in the draft next year. It just makes it more fun. We could all get in the room, have a good time with each other or whatever like that. It just makes it a better experience. I am going to, I guess, give out a good old Thanksgiving thankful rave to one of our commenters out on YouTube. So we had this listener comment, kind of got in a conversation with this dude over YouTube. Talked about all the viewership and the subs and all that kind of stuff. But Lou It's Mad on YouTube wrote a comment saying that he had Connor and D-Hop. He was down 20 points on Monday Night Football, getting in there. I assume this dude got the dub, right? D-Hop had somewhere around 20 points for me on my team. Connor got 6 somewhere or whatever like that. He didn't mention anybody else, but we were going back and forth in some of the comments and stuff like that. He was talking about, oh, it's the worst. I think it was Justin Fields one or something like that we were talking about. And he was like, oh, I had to go against him. Hope he's not playing or whatever like this. Hope he doesn't go off. And then just kind of start talking fantasy in it or whatever like that. And it was pretty cool to engage with somebody that's just random out there who liked one of our videos, right? Complete stranger, don't know who it is. They didn't have a profile picture, nothing like that, or whatever. I don't know if you watched any of the other videos. I think once we started posting those shorts, we started getting a lot more videos or views on the other videos, and too some of the ones up in like the 40s and stuff like that, which is pretty cool for just posting a fucking video, right? Like there's a lot of
It's
stuff you
awesome.
put into the into the descriptions and into the tags and stuff that it belongs into, right? To come up in search or whatever like that. But shout out to Lewitz Mad on YouTube for commenting on this week's videos, being the most active, engaged, watcher, I guess you would say, or viewer
Yep.
or whatever like that. So before we get out of here, let's pay some homage. 58 West King podcast, Tony. That's you and Matt over there. What do you guys got going on here coming pretty soon? You talked about another episode or something like that beforehand.
Yep. Just pushed that early this morning. I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning. It was super early or
Yeah.
super late, but that's our week 12 picks. We pushed them out before Thanksgiving. We're batting about, I don't know, 6:30, 6:40. We're up there with guys like Jeff Ratcliffe, dudes behind a paywall, right? We're batting better than Adam Rank, Cynthia Freeland, people who get paid to do this, to give out advice. And we're doing it for free just because we have fun doing it. And we're not copying their picks. So go check that out. That's available on all podcasting platforms. We're also posting full episodes on YouTube again. We stopped doing that for a while. So those are available. And you can follow us on Twitter, IG, and even TikTok, though I haven't posted anything yet. I will soon. That's all at 58W King Podcast.
Yeah. You get
Check
all
us
those
out.
links down below as well, too. Also, go check out the Whiskey Flick podcast that is hosted by one of our managers here at the Milford Academy and Terrence Dunn. New episode coming 2024 with the Trump
Whoa.
camp.
Nope. That just got pushed. It got delayed to spring 2025 now. If you're talking
Spring
about the
2025.
Friday Night Lights.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I just got word. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Yeah. Nah, go check that out if you like movies. Like understand a little bit about whiskey too. But you'll learn anything you want about a movie.
Yep.
You just look for the title, whatever, in all those past ones. Go check out the Die Hard is not a Christmas movie episode. That is one of the first ones in that or whatever. It's pretty good. It's got me and Tony in there. We have a fan fight, and I'm right. Tony's wrong. It's pretty much the normal thing here, just like why I'm 0-3. But I was still right, and he's 2-1 on these bets against the spread. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're listening, watching, or whatever like that. Leave a comment, like the video. Rate us on Apple and Spotify. You can rate on Spotify now, Tony, like you did for Apple Podcast. That was not a thing for all the years or whatever like that. So go leave us a review. Let us know. Engage with us. If you want to ask us questions, ask us questions. Maybe we'll find a part and move one of these parts of the segments out or whatever like that. And, revamp the podcast. It's moved and revamped quite a bit over the years, right? We started back in 2018. Trey was talking the other day. Before we get out, the audacity of Trey to think that he's going to be on the 100th episode. He just like reserved himself. Like, yeah, I'm waiting for the 100th episode to get on. When I asked, like, yo, anybody want to get on? Right. And he said he was listening to episode 1 because Trey was the first one to get on. Right. And I was listening to it. Oh, it's so hard to listen to. Like, I'm like, I want to go edit it. No, like, I need to remember when I feel bad about like what we put out one day, or I'm not confident in like what we did, or don't feel good about it post edit, just go listen to episode 1 and be like, we're doing a lot better, man. Like, this is where we came from. It's pretty magical. Like, we just put a couple microphones in front of us and figured it out, and no editing, not knowing how to do anything is super, super dry. But it's good to see where it comes from, right? You got to keep those out there. So, but yeah, make sure you subscribe on all podcast platforms, wherever you're listening, whatever like that. Share with a friend. I think it's Pat McAfee says, be a friend, share. Be a friend, tell a friend, I think is what he has.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Tony, we are at an hour 10 right now. I have one thing to say. I don't know if you listen to Pat McAfee show.
On and off. I'm not a regular.
So you go back to Tuesday's episode, right, of this week. So 2 days ago or yesterday, they clip it out, right? And they talk about the 49ers. I'm just saying, I don't know where he's getting his content from, but a month ago on one of these platforms, it was either me or yours, someone with great hair, a decent beard, a pimple right here, wearing a UCCS sweater said, the Niners are going to, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to come in here and fuck around and win a Super Bowl. Then what do the Niners do? They got to re-sign him, right? I mean, they did the whole segment on it yesterday about how Jimmy Garoppolo is going to come in here, fuck around, like exact words, fuck around and win a Super Bowl. I threw my headphones out of my ears like, God damn it, the son of a bitch is listening to Taco Corp, because he just said exactly what I said. And they had like a whole thing talking to Darius Butler about it. So shout out Pat McAfee for being a listener, loyal subscriber to the podcast.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get out of here. We got to do a banger of the week, Tony. Look, tomorrow we did an episode last week about all the things you shouldn't talk about during Thanksgiving, right? Top 5 things. So you got 10 things over there, couple honorable mentions, the YouTube videos out there. I don't know if you've seen the thumbnail for it. I thought it was pretty good. Don't say these things. And then the he's back thing, because it's trending on Twitter right now with the former president on there, right? No views. No, not a person listened to it. Like, fuck. That was a bad thumbnail. Didn't get any attention. But look, there's one song that's ever been made that you could never be in a bad mood with, no matter what is going. Like, your mother you could just watch your mother burn in a fire, and this song comes on, you can't be sad. I walked into the gas station. I was having a shitty day the other day. It came on, boom, put it on my Spotify, put it in the car. Apparently, my kids know the song. And they start singing it, right? And I was like, oh, this is a feel-good song. Everybody's going to need a feel-good song. You're at Thanksgiving tomorrow. You're arguing with your family about your left and their right, or you're a dude, or you're a they, or you're a chicken, or whatever you want to say, right? Just play this song. Uptown Girl, Billy Joel. Love you. Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Love you. Bye.